She uninvited me from her wedding 1 week before it happened after I helped pay for everything. I've been sitting on this for a while because the entire thing still feels surreal to me. Part of me keeps wondering if I somehow missed obvious signs that this friendship had been dead for years. Another part of me feels completely blindsided. I'm 29, and this friend has been in my life for over 15 years. We met in high school, survived awkward teenage phases together, stayed connected through college, bad jobs, breakups, and all the random life stuff that usually causes people to drift apart. We were never the type to call each other sisters or anything dramatic like that, but there was a long history there. Enough history that I thought we'd always at least show up for each other during important moments. Her relationship with her now husband was honestly exhausting to witness from the beginning. About 2 years ago, he proposed to her for the first time. The thing is, she hated it. Not publicly, of course. Publicly she smiled, posted pictures, and acted grateful. Privately, she spent almost an entire year complaining to me about every single detail. The ring wasn't what she wanted. The proposal wasn't thoughtful enough. He didn't understand her. He didn't listen. She told me multiple times she questioned whether she should even marry him at all. At one point, her fiancé actually reached out to me directly asking for advice because he knew she was unhappy. I genuinely tried to help him. I spent days telling him that if he wanted to fix things, he should plan something more personal and meaningful for her. I suggested a different ring because she clearly hated the original one. I even explained specific things she cared about because after 15 years of friendship, I knew exactly what would matter to her. He ignored almost all of it. Then somehow, months later, they did a second engagement. Yes, a second engagement to the same man. Suddenly everything changed overnight. Now he was apparently the love of her life. The old engagement was never supposed to be mentioned again. Everyone around her basically had to pretend the first one never happened. It felt like we were collectively rewriting history in real time. Meanwhile, around that exact period, my own life completely fell apart. I became chronically ill. Not the kind of illness where you're sick for a week and bounce back. I'm talking about the kind that drains your energy so badly that even showering feels like a full work shift. The kind where you start canceling plans because you genuinely cannot physically function. The kind where doctors still don't fully have answers, and people slowly start treating you differently because your illness is invisible. I had to stop working for almost a year because of it. I canceled appointments constantly, but I always explained why. I still tried to show up whenever I physically could. I even went to one of her wedding dress appointments despite feeling awful because I knew it mattered to her. I missed the second one because I literally couldn't do it. She always said she understood. But honestly, I don't think she did. You know when someone says all the correct supportive words, but their tone tells you they think you're exaggerating? That's what it felt like. She never really checked in on me. Never asked how treatments were going. Never asked if I was mentally okay dealing with all of this. At some point I realized I was pouring energy into someone who barely noticed I was struggling. Still I tried. When it came time for her bachelorette party, I helped plan it and paid my share even though money was tight because I wasn't working. I spent hours coordinating things while exhausted and dealing with symptoms. Then when the actual weekend arrived, my body crashed hard and I couldn't attend. I felt terrible about it. I apologized repeatedly. A couple days later I got a text from her. Not a phone call. Not even a voice message. A text. And honestly, it sounded less like a message from a friend of 15 years, and more like an HR department firing an employee. She basically said she couldn't handle uncertainty around the wedding anymore. She said she felt I hadn't made enough effort during her engagement and wedding events. Then she informed me that I would no longer be included in the wedding, because she needed clarity, leading up to the big day. That was it. No conversation. No asking how I was doing. No acknowledgement that I'd been seriously ill. Just a polished little rejection notice ending with, "I wish you well." I actually reread it multiple times because I genuinely thought there had to be more context missing. The timing made it even worse. I had RSVP'd months earlier back in January. She'd sent me the electronic invite literally 2 days before the RSVP deadline, which already felt strange at the time. Looking back, I honestly wonder if she didn't want to invite me in the first place but felt guilty because of our history. What hurt the most was how random it felt. The last conversation we'd had before this was her wishing me a happy birthday. No tension. No fight. Nothing. Then suddenly I'm removed from the wedding 1 week before it happens. And it wasn't just emotionally humiliating. Cost me money too. Her wedding was on a Friday, so my partner had already taken PTO from work to attend. I bought a dress specifically because she wanted guests wearing certain colors. I helped pay for a bachelorette trip I didn't even get to attend. So after sitting there angry and shocked for a while, I finally replied and told her that if she was going to uninvite me 1 week before the wedding after I'd financially contributed to her events, then she should reimburse my portion of the bachelorette expenses. I also mentioned the PTO situation and the dress. I wasn't demanding thousands of dollars or trying to ruin her wedding. I just felt like if someone cuts you out at the absolute last second after accepting your time, energy, and money for months, there should be some accountability there. She responded coldly and basically implied I was making her wedding about myself. That's when it fully hit me that this friendship had probably been over long before the text message arrived. I think what hurts most isn't even missing the wedding anymore. It's realizing that someone I'd known for 15 years could discard me so easily the moment I stopped being convenient. Especially when the reason was something I couldn't control. Being chronically ill already makes you feel isolated enough. People slowly disappear because your life no longer fits neatly into theirs. But this situation made me realize how uncomfortable some people become when you can't perform friendship in the exact way they expect. If I had canceled because I didn't care, that would be one thing. But I was genuinely struggling just to function day to day. And instead of compassion, I got a termination email. At this point, I don't even know if asking for reimbursement was petty or justified. Part of me thinks I reacted emotionally because I was hurt and humiliated. Another part of me thinks uninviting someone 1 week before your wedding after taking their money is unbelievably rude. Either way, I never expected a 15-year friendship to end over a text message about clarity.